So Robert Whittaker wants to fight Kamaru Usman at middleweight, and this is what he said. Is he going to stay at middleweight? I don't know. That fight interests me. I like that fight. I'd fight a middleweight Kamaru Usman. I don't think it's a bad fight to have. I hope he stays around. Stick around up here. It's fun. So, right off the bat, I'm going with Robert Whittaker because of the weight class difference. He is the middleweight champion. Kamaru Usman is the welterweight champion. There is a difference. This fight, right off the bat, is a dream matchup. This is a fun fight. This is an all-time fun fight. You have a top 3 all-time middleweight in Robert Whittaker, and you have a top 3 all-time welterweight in Kamaru Usman, and they'd be fighting each other in Robert Whittaker's home of middleweight, and it would be a fun fight. I would favor Robert Whittaker just because he's used to going with the bigger guys. He's used to fighting in middleweight with the bigger frame. He's used to it all. He didn't just fight there against Hamzat on 2 weeks' notice. You get what I mean? So it's kind of a different thing. If this fight were to happen next, it would be Kamaru Usman's first training camp preparing for a middleweight fight, a full training camp, not just 2 weeks like he did for Hamzat. It would be a full training camp preparing at middleweight, whereas Robert Whittaker, he's done this before. He's done this several times. It's his home weight class, you know. He moved up from welterweight many years ago, and he is a middleweight. He's been a middleweight, former middleweight champion, all things like that. So with that said, I'm going with that. I think if Kamaru Usman manages to get a takedown, even with the bad knees that he has, I think if he manages to get a takedown against Robert Whittaker will pop right back up. And I also think in the striking department, with the kicks, the leg kicks of Robert Whittaker especially, I think Robert Whittaker will piece up Kamaru Usman in the striking. I think he's got just as good of hands, if not better. I think it's almost undoubtedly he has better hands than Kamaru Usman. And just an overall striking game. I think Kamaru's only chance would be to grind him up against the fence, beat him up on the fence, and take him down like he did to Tyron Woodley. But I don't see him doing that to Robert Whittaker. I don't see him holding down Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker will be the bigger guy, the stronger guy. You know, all these things. So that's my take on it. I'm going Robert Whittaker if this fight happens. And, you know, we just saw a version of this with Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev. First fight was close for what we thought it was going to be, right? We thought it was going to be Islam by domination, but Volk made it somewhat interesting in front of a biased home crowd. So I think that kind of brainwashed a lot of people to thinking it was that close when it really wasn't that close. It was like this close, but we give him the credit regardless. The rematch, as we saw, the bigger, stronger Islam Makhachev dominated every part of that fight. Completely bull rush Volkanovski. Didn't take a step back the whole time. Made Volkanovski move backwards the whole time. Head kicked him right through his guard. Boom. And that was all she wrote. Brushed him off like a little pesky bug, you know. And I think, while I don't think that happens in this fight, I do think Robert Whittaker looks good, and I think Robert Whittaker could probably finish Kamaru Usman at middleweight, maybe 3rd round, something like that. I could just see that happening. That's my take on it, especially if it's a 5-round fight. If it's a 3-round fight, he could finish him in 2. If it's a 5-round fight, he could finish him in 3. But that's my take on it. Robert Whittaker over Kamaru Usman at middleweight. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you agree, disagree, it does not matter. Just join the discussion, and please follow for more. Thank you. You are appreciated.